Welcome to round 17 in the Sheds, and what a round 17 it was, starting at the Jungle. The Huddersfield Giants getting their third win of the campaign against the Castleford Tigers. 2 points now behind the Fords at the Cowbell Army. It wasn't a classic, was it? Never in a million years. Not since I was on Rita. Need for Speed at Alton Towers. Have I seen a yellow card given as quickly? Yes. Zach Wolford goes for 10, and you're thinking, wow, this is not the start that Luke Robinson would have wanted for his Giants. But hey, they rallied superbly. They didn't go into oblivion. Oh, absolutely not. A wonderful, wonderful first try from the Huddersfield Giants. Flanagan again. Off he goes down the right-hand side. Lovely little pass out to Gagai. And there is Tui Lollahea. It was like a runaway train, and he went. Beautiful stuff. We have to wait then to 33 minutes before Sam Halsall went in. Nice work on the left-hand side. And they were 12-0 up at that point with Huddersfield Giants. And to be fair, they probably deserved to be. But then what happened? Unbelievable. The defensive effort from the Giants in the last 5 minutes of that first half was quite simply shocking. Lawler first on the right edge, and then of course Sinner, brilliant break, beautiful break from Zaxton, who's been in great form for the Castleford Tigers. In he goes, and Luke Robinson, well, he must have been fearing that the hex was about to fall. I mean, the hex courtesy of the Castleford Tigers, and what that meant was 12 all half time. And for a neutral, you're thinking, how are the Huddersfield Giants behind it? And you just felt the first score of the second period was going to be very important indeed. And on 51 minutes, Tane Milne, another brilliant try for him. He's in great form. Sam Wood having an absolute mare in defence, it has to be said. And in go the Giants once again before the match-winning try. What a match-winning try it was as well. Tui Lollahea going, crabbing down to the right-hand side, and then a lovely twisting, turning, little swing of the hips from George Flanagan. Oh, yes, it was the score of the game. He was the nemesis of the Castleford Tigers. You could hear screams of delight from the Cowbell Army fans. Beautiful stuff. Before, of course, Tui Lollahea went in for that intercept try to make it 30 points to 12. A very good game from him as well. Danny Maguire looking on. He looked like a man that was confused. He was dazed. I mean, he'd been upside down this way, that way. I mean, he just didn't know what to say at full time, Danny Maguire. He knew his team weren't at the races, but he's got to find answers, and he's got to find answers very quickly. A brilliant performance this from Huddersfield when you consider what they've been up against, especially in the second half, when you think, yeah, you know, they've had it tough. They've lost a couple of games that perhaps they should have won this year. They came out on the right side of this one. I mean, the completion rates were really poor for both sides. 71% for the Castleford Tigers, 72% for Huddersfield Giants. It was an error fest. It wasn't a classic. It was a gritty game, a gritty performance from the Cowbell Army, and they will be feeling pretty chipper, I have to say. Big task on ahead of them now. The Wigan Warriors lie in wait. As for the Castleford Tigers, they go up against Salford Red Devils this weekend, coming in round number 18. Both of those games are going to be very interesting indeed. But like I say, this performance from Huddersfield, Luke Robinson will be very pleased to have got over the line, and rightly so. Right, let's get into who we're giving the 3-2-1 to. The 1 point I've got to give to Flanagan. A beautiful first run to the right-hand side, setting up that break that got the Lollahea try. And he's tried, well, Lollahea replied in kind for him in terms of assisting. Absolutely sensational, that run from Flanagan. Real intricate skill there from the young man. 2 points I want to give to Tane Milne, not necessarily for his try, but his overall work rate coming out of backfield. 19 carries, 182 metres. This man is growing as the season goes forward. There was a lot of hopes around Tane Milne at Huddersfield at the start of the season. He started to repay that in kind. We've been seeing some really good, consistent displays from Tane recently. And the 3 points I've got to give to Tui Lollahea. 2 tries on the night, 2 assists on the night. He kicked pretty well as well. I think Tui had probably perhaps his best game of the season thus far since returning from injury. They're going to need more of that, the Huddersfield Giants, as they go forward this season. So a great win for the Giants, 30 points to 12. A lot of questions to be asked for Danny Maguire as we now go to the Friday fixture, starting at the Salford Community Stadium. Salford Red Devils 12, Warrington Wolves 24. Where do you start with this one? Well, first and foremost, we've got to start with the Warrington Wolves. Many teams have put big scores on Salford. The weight of expectation, perhaps they crumbled under it, because there's no doubt this was a real education in what goes on between your two ears in a game of rugby league. Warrington expected to canter in to the SCS and have a field day, and it didn't transpire that way at all. As for Salford, we know they're getting some decent players in the likes of Richardson, etc., but they still not knitted. It was a much improved Salford display, but Warrington allowed them into the game. So let's unpack this. Like I say, Warrington need to take a long, hard look at themselves. You've got to earn the right to win big. I mean, we saw Saints go there the other week. They weren't great, but they were 20-0 up at half time, and then they put on the afterburners. Warrington didn't want to do the basics right in that first half. They were really playing some pretty poor passes, making wrong decisions, and it allowed Salford back into the game. And once Salford came into the game, they had the confidence grew, and suddenly they started to believe. It started really well for us. The first try, absolutely wonderful backdoor ball from George Williams. You've got to give him his due. Have a little bit of Matthew Duff there, and on he goes under the sticks. And you're thinking, yeah, here we go. This should be quite an easy night at the office for the Warrington Wolves. And then the indiscipline of the wire really did start to creep into this game. You know, they started giving away penalties for fun, didn't they? I mean, first and foremost, you've got to give credit to Ethan Ryan, who took his try really well on the right edge for the Salford Red Devils. But then after that, it was penalty after penalty after penalty. I mean, good Lord, they needed Benjamin Curry's silky skills. A lovely plan move there. You know, a fake to the right, in it goes to the left, and there's Jimmy Harrison to go in for Warrington. And that was a much needed score. Warrington desperately needed to go in at half-time ahead. Had Salford have gone in front, stayed in front at half-time, it could have been a very interesting game, this one. I mean, as Salford, Salford fans will be delighted, and they'll be really looking forward to Castleford this week, because they'll think there's a real chance there. That was a much improved performance, especially when you consider the performance that Castleford dished up against the Huddersfield Giants. As for the Warrington Wolves, for me, on this performance, they go to Catalan, they lose. And that is an unbelievable statement to make. But I'm sorry to say it, that was a poor performance from Warrington. They've got to tidy it up. They really, really do. They don't look a threat in Super League this year. For the first time at full time, I felt Sam Burgess looked a little bit dazed, I have to say. He just didn't seem to quite understand what had happened. I mean, we talk about the weather, etc. It takes two teams to play in that weather. I mean, on the paper, on the starting lineups, it's a gulf. It's a gulf between the two sides. But on the pitch, not a bit of it. And Warren will be really disappointed. I mean, they tackled well. Don't get me wrong, 91% efficiency. But I think where they'll be a little bit concerned is that, we've seen Salford so many times this year post less than 1,000 metres. They got 1,278 against Warrington. They also had post-contact meters of 428. And that told you that Salford was on. They were on. They believed. They felt they could have a go at this. They really did. The completion rate of the Warrington Wolves at 72%, quite frankly, that is not winning many games. If they weren't playing Salford this week, I think they probably lose against most other teams in Super League with a 72% conversion rate. Don't get me wrong, there were some worse than that this week. I think Castleford was sub 60. But like I say, not good enough if you're Warrington. There was just moments of quality, like I say, the backdoor ball from Williams and wonderful hands from Curry. I mean, there's nothing to be excited about over the Stephen Ratchford try that ultimately sealed the win for Warrington. Warrington fans will be very, very concerned about this. I mean, it's almost getting to the point now where are they writing off this season? Because even if they get to the playoffs, you can't really see them making too much of a dent in it. And there's plenty of games still to go. I get that. But by Lord, do they need a better performance than this in the Catalan, in Perpignan? Just simply not good enough at all. It's as simple as that. If this was a meal that you were dished up in a restaurant, yeah, you'd be asking for a refund. No doubt about that whatsoever. Right, let's get into the 3-2-1. 1 point I've got to give to Duffy, yet again a try, an assist, 169 metres from 17 carries. Matt Duffy, another good game from him on the night. I'm going to give 2 points to Chris Hankinson for the Salford Red Devils. He ran the ball really well, got over 100 metres, but of course it was he who was kicking those penalties, and they were quite straightforward penalties, 4 from 5 on the evening. But I thought Chris Hankinson overall had a really good game for Salford Red Devils. Really impressed with Chris Hankinson. I think he's a great utility player. I really, really do. I thought Jaden Nicarima as well had great glimpses. I've got to give Jaden Nicarima a little bit of a note in dispatches. When he was on the ball, he looked pretty tidy. Maybe a player Warrington needs to look at. And the 3 points we're going to give to Ben Curry at loose forward. Ben Curry this season for me has been a real champion performer, a pretty consistent performer from game one for the Warrington Wolves. Not doing anything too special. Tackling though really, really hard. 43 tackles in this game. Didn't miss a single one. Brilliant, exceptional effort in defence. Of course, that wonderful assist for the James Harrison try as well. Hard to overlook Ben on this occasion. So 3 points go to Ben Curry. Do you agree with that, Warrington Wolves fans? Where is your team at this season? I mean, it really is a head scratcher in terms of how, season on season, it's changed. Best defence, best in attacking Super League this season, leaking points for fun, and certainly not looking coherent in attack. As for Salford, well done to you. That is a really good building block for your game next week at the SCS against the Castleford Tigers. Let's get away from a game that, quite frankly, was very average, perhaps the worst standard of rugby we saw this weekend, and that's saying something when you consider the Huddersfield Castleford game. And let's go to a game that's quite simply exceptional at the LSV. Here we go. The Leeds Leopards 18, Wigan Warriors 8, which means one thing: the bus stop is truly mightier than the pie. Oh yes, the Leeds Leopards win the series 2-1 this season. It was a gritty win, 1-0 at the Brick community. This was an outstanding second half performance from the Leeds Leopards, no doubt about it. Both teams completing sub 75%. That just made it even better for a neutral. Unbelievable game of rugby league football, this one. I mean, it really, really was. Started so well for the Wigan Warriors. That Jake Wardle try. Are you dancing, Jake? Are you asking? I'm asking. Then Jakey Wardle's dancing. Wonderful feat from Jake Wardle. In he goes on the edge that I was concerned about. I said it in captain's run. Handler, Brand, and they went straight for that after 6 minutes, and they got their just desserts. Absolutely brilliant. And you're thinking, right, this could be quite a bad evening. But then on 11 minutes, when Marshall broke down the left-hand side, what we saw was the scramble defence of the Leeds Leopards. Bailey Hodgson, fantastic tackle. Then they shoot it out to the right-hand side. Kieran's forward pass to Miske. Again, we've seen this so many times. We saw it, of course, at Craven Park later in the weekend. Really poor execution from Kieran on the wing. Miske didn't look 100% fit. Where was Zach Eckersley? He means post-match, Matty Pete saying, he asked both Marshall and Miske to play through the pain barrier. Why? When you've got Zach Eckersley there, just play him. I think he will regret that decision. We've seen it so many times this year. Coaches putting faith in the old guard when the kids are doing far, far better. Zach Eckersley should have been played. And then the moment for me that had Lee lost this game, the amount of the Roars that had left the LSV going, why didn't Josh Charnley pass to Hodgson? I mean, unbelievable decision that from the returning Josh Charnley. All he had to do was pass it inside, and Hodgson's under the post. And you're thinking, even though the scrambling defence of Lee, he's looking pretty good. That is a big blown opportunity. Of course, there was a penalty as well for the Wigan Warriors in that first half, and then the Leeds Leopards come into the second half, really having to chase it. I'd love to know what Adrian Lamb said to his troops at half time, because they came out completely and utterly bang at it. Unbelievable. Great first try, through hands, Pape to Lamb. How many times have you saw that? And then Tessie knew. He went round Kieran so well. I thought it was on a carousel. I was getting dizzy. He went straight round him. Not a problem at all. Tessie's a great player, isn't he? He's having a brilliant season for the Leeds Leopards. He did Miske inside out and all. Absolutely wonderful try from Tessie New. And now the Leeds Leopards were right back in this game. And at that point, we're only 51 minutes in, you're thinking, right, what the Warriors got? They were very lucky against Castleford, very lucky against Huddersfield, lost to Wakefield. What are we going to see from them? And what I saw was panic. Absolute panic. Lee were running harder. They were defending harder. They had some superb moments in defence, and every single win, you can tell with the body language of players when they make important tackles. For example, when I think a kick got chased down, I think Hanley got Marshall and he's in touch. The roar from Hanley was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Pape was growing into the game. The key players of them were growing into the game. And then the ball comes out to the right-hand side, doesn't it? Owen Trout, of course, going to be playing for England, and off they go again down the left-hand side. Lovely feet from, I think it was Brand, it might have been Lamb. Then it goes into, it was Hanley, wasn't it? Hanley then finds the ball, who then fed Edwin Pape, and Edwin Pape goes over, and suddenly the Leeds Leopards are in the front. And at that point for me, I didn't see Wigan coming back into it. It was a great toe-to-toe. There was no quarter given in this game. Absolutely no quarter given whatsoever. Both sides really were bang on the money in this game. It was a great game for the neutral. It was a great advertisement for the great game of rugby league football. And for me, like I said, I can watch games like this every day of the week. If you're a neutral, doesn't matter. When you've got a game of rugby league like this, it beats any other sport in the world for excitement. It really, really does. An incredible display. And of course, that whilst that was clearly for me a sensational try, from the Lee Leopards. They back it up, and they backed it up so well. Some lovely play down the left-hand side. I mean, again, there was a try chalked off, wasn't there? I think a judge to have come off Frankie Orton and gone forward, and that probably would have made the Lee Leopards go, God, could that be a big turning point in the game? Not a bit of it. Owen Trout, of course, getting the final try of the game. Opportunist, as we say, really poor defence. Jai Field on the night didn't have his best of games. Good going forward, quite poor in defence and some of his defensive reads. But all in all, this was an outstanding display, second half, from the Lee Leopards. And what they're showing is that they're growing and they're no mugs, and they may have a massive part to play in what will be the final playoff series. They do look every inch a top 6 side, don't they? Top 4 side for me. And Wigan will be bruised by that 2-1 loss to the Leopards. Wigan, for them, a mini crisis, it has to be said. And, that's how they're sitting second. I can't even believe I'm saying that. But by their own high standards, this will be a concern. And perhaps the first real test of Matty Pete's stewardship at Wigan. That said, some of the pies online asking for Pete to step down. Give your heads the biggest wobble of all. Unbelievable. I said like Phil going forward, 170 meters, 17 carries. He did what he needed to do. But yeah, there was too many players for me on the night that looked like they were carrying knocks, maybe not to full fitness. And not just that, just no real lack of cohesion. They'll point to Bevan French being missing, but Wigan had the chances in that first half to probably be to get ahead pretty well. I know the Charlie one was lost as well. They only have themselves to blame. They're just not looking clinical at the moment. And I think most teams will fancy themselves against them. Can Huddersfield this week? But, right the wrong of what happened at Dewsbury, that's going to be very interesting to see as well. As for the Lee Leopards, they will be delighted. They really will. Great performance from them, especially in the second half. Right, who am I giving the 3-2-1 to? I'm going to give the 1 point to Tessie New. I think Tessie New this season has been an outstanding addition to the Lee Leopard squad. Brilliant try, took it well. Like I say, went round Kieran like he wasn't there. Wonderful stuff. 11 tackle busts. He's a Mayo, very Conrad Hurrell-esque, isn't he? Is Tessie New. He's a big unit. And when he's on 11 tackle busts, 1 clean break from him, an offload, 18 carries for 146 metres. Good game from Tessie New. 2 points I'm going to give to Yamila Hanley. We actually pointed to Yamila Hanley, how was he going to play in this game against Jake Wardle? And I actually thought on the night, Hanley came off better than Jake Wardle. I felt he had a great game on both sides of the ball. Very good indeed. He was at it. He ran well. Did 4 tackle busts on the day. He played some key moments in some key parts of the game for the Lee Leopards in it. Of course, that assist, very important from him for the Ipape try. He also carried the ball 17 times, like I say, for 108 metres. A great effort from Yamila Hanley. But the 3 points has to go to the star that he's born, Bailey Hodgson. What a performance from Bailey Hodgson. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, no tries, no assists, but everything he did was pure quality and class. It really was. Every time they kicked to him, his meter returns were unbelievable. 33 carries for 231 metres in this game from Bailey Hodgson. He got 6 tackles, he got a clean break. I mean, this young man, he had a stellar game. Good luck, David Armstrong, next season when you come back, because if Bailey continues in this form, he'll get the number 1 shirt for me next year at the Lee Leopards, because quite frankly, he deserves it if he plays like this for the rest of the season. Every time I see this kid, I'm more and more impressed. You be the roarers out there. You must be absolutely roaring. And as for you, the pie eaters, well, dearie me, you might want to maybe put them back in the oven for another 5 to 10 minutes, because at this moment in time, you do look a little bit underbaked. With that said, let's now go to the MKM Stadium, because Hull FC were entertaining Saints. Hull FC 6, Saints on his 13, and in a week where we went fine dining on some of the finest Rugby League football that we could see, this was like going to McDonald's, wasn't it? Talk about an absolute come down. Big Mac anyone? Unbelievable. Not a good game, not a good advert for the game. It was an error fest. It was 2 teams trying not to lose. Let's be crystal on that. It was a very poor show. I mean, the only thing that we could take from this is Kyle Fell is really settling well now. That is a potent edge, isn't it, for St. Helens? They are putting up some high bombs. He's a big lad. It's a tactic that they are doing really well. I mean, both tries was all about strength and agility. He did really well. Davy Litton's got to be stronger. That said, Davy Litton's try of the day, no doubt about that. Caesar breaking through and Litton getting the try. But yeah, I mean, Hull FC, wow, just simply wow. I mean, from the dizzy heights of second earlier in the season, I mean, they have plummeted, haven't they? Absolutely plummeted as the season has gone on. I mean, this was really poor. Completion rate of 62%. I'll say it again, 62%. Saints weren't much better at 74. Well, they were. I mean, they were 12% better, but 74% is not great either. Like I say, really poor from both sides. From both sides, they have to be better. Saints going to Leeds this week, and FC going to Wakefield. And on this performance, neither team for me will be favourite going into those two games, because what we know about Wakefield, what we know about Saints, is they're in good form. So for me, really interesting. I'd say Saints Leeds, sorry, in really good form. So yeah, you can't take much from this at all. All we do know is that Saints just keep getting over the line. They're just grinding out wins. They're very firmly in that top half of the league. Everybody now would expect them to clinch a playoff place, and perhaps when their big hitters, a couple of their big hitters return, the likes of Jack Wellesby, should he come back, then yeah, maybe they'll be in a good spot. I thought Owen Dagnall was absolutely superb for the Saints. I mean, again, was he man of the match? Absolutely not. For me, I'm sorry, he wasn't. But he had a really, really good game, did Owen Dagnall, on that left edge. He's growing really well. He's a big lad. He's got all the attributes, hasn't he, to be a fantastic winger. Could he be, in, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years' time, the go-to winger in Super League? He's got all the qualities. Really fascinating. It's too early to tell. It's like Harvey Barron, another one. I thought that tussle between them two was wonderful to watch. I think those two players have got massive futures in the game, and could be actually going head-to-head for international honours, potentially in the future. A long way to go, and there's a lot more development required from both players, but I think both players on the day, it was a great, great matchup, and I think both did very, very well indeed. Paul Wellens will be delighted. They're on a good run of form. They're winning games. They're getting themselves now into a real solid league position, and they will fancy themselves to go on and make sure they get that playoff place. As will FC now. They are looking more and more with each week that's passing a team that's not going to be a playoff side in 2025. That said, it's a big improvement on the Hull FC of 2024. Not really much more I want to say about this, really. All I will do is do the 3-2-1. The 1 point I'm going to give to Kyle Felt. Kyle Felt, another 2 tries from him. Looks apart, 18 carries, 125 metres. Took his tries well, 3 tackle busts on the day. 2 points I'm going to give to Harry Robertson. Another good game from young Robertson. 14 carries, 161 metres, 10 tackle busts. I mean, for such a slight lad, he doesn't half get through a line really, really well. He was causing problems throughout the game on the right edge for the Saints. And 3 points, this is going to surprise many people. Many people. And it's Matty Lees. He was solid, absolutely solid. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it again. Matty Lees in this game, 36 tackles in the middle of the field, and he got over 100 metres, 14 carries for over 100 metres. I mean, he was by far and away the best performing middle unit on the field. And when you consider who was on the field, the likes of Herman Esse, Alex Wormsley, etc., you're thinking one of those are going to probably pick up the berth of being the best forward on the field. Not a bit of it. Matty Lees in this had a real solid game. And we say this all the time here at Super League Raw. A lot of the time, the middle units get overlooked. Matty Lees, in a game that needed grit, determination, that's what he showed. That's what he delivered. And it was a massive effort for his team. And he played a big part in making sure that they got the 2 points on the day. So, yeah, Matty Lees, Saints fans, do you agree with that? Do you not? Hull FC fans, is it now a case of just accepting the fact it's been an improved season, but you're not going to be in the playoffs? I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. Let's now move to something that we can get excited about, because we can't get excited about this. Let's go to the Trin. Everybody's guilty pleasure, 2025, up the Trin. What a performance from Wakefield, Trinity, Dowell Powell, sir. I salute you. Boom! Oh yes, outstanding. I've not felt this warm and fuzzy after a first half of rugby league since the last time I had sticky toffee pudding with lashings of vanilla custard. This was a wonderful first half performance from Wakey Trinity. They did fall off a little bit in the second half, and won't Catalan Dragons be happy for that? Because if they'd done in the second half what they did in the first, this would have been a landslide victory. Oh yes, Tony Blair all over again in 1997. Oh, incredible performance this from the Trin. I mean, in goes Max Sharp for the first try. Wonderful work on the right-hand side. Corey Hall had a really good, sumptuous game for me in centre. He played really, really well. Setting off down the right-hand side for Wormsley. Again, good performance from him. Inside to Jowett. Here we go. Happy days. Game on. Wormsley getting a couple of tries of his own. But the moment of the game for me, it was absolutely has to go to Josh Rourke. Josh Rourke on the day. Whoa, take a bow, sir. He was like Mary Poppins, wasn't he? Coming out of the sky. Give us that ball. Over you go. And Sam Tompkins needed a spoonful of sugar to help the medicine of defeat go down. Super califragilistic expialidocious. Oh, yes. Incredible. Let's go fly a kite. Incredible stuff from the Trin. Absolutely loved it. Davil, lad, go on, son. Made up for you. All those, doubters when you left Warrington. Oh, yes, egg on base now. Davil Powell doing what he needs to do. He's assembled a quality roster and they're playing for each other. They were superb against a very poor Catalan Drags, it has to be said. Catalan kept to under 900 metres. I'm going to say that again. Under 900 metres. Trin went for over 1,600. They dominated. The only thing that Trinity will be devastated about is, one, they let themselves drop off a little bit in the second half, maybe come down a little bit to Catalan's level. It was job done, of course, at half-time. And they'll be very disappointed with the Pangai Junior try. No doubt about that whatsoever. But with the exception of that, everything's coming off. Everything's coming off. I mean, at the start of the season, if he and Josh Griffin's probably not going to be in the second row. You've got Nicotimo in there, Regana, they've got bags of riches in that second row. Will Griffin play? Will he not play? Etc. Josh Griffin, when he left the MKM, people thinking he's probably done anyway. Not a bit of it. Took his try well. Josh Griffin's in great form in second row. Jay Pitt showing why, he's one of the most revered loose forwards this season in Super League. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Everything about the Trin at the moment should be celebrated. They are going to give it a proper go to get in the six. And if they get in the six, nobody's going to want to play Davil Powell's Trinity because they're playing some sparkling attacking rugby league football. They're playing like kids in a playground. They've already overachieved in many people's eyes. They can just go out and express themselves every week. I mean, if you're Hull FC, you don't want to be playing Trinity this weekend, but guess what? That's exactly who you're playing. Unbelievable performance from Davil Powell's men. Let's get into the 3-2-1. Really difficult. Really, really difficult in the 3-2-1 this week. But I've got to give 1 point to Corey Hall. I thought Corey Hall on the right edge played really well throughout the game, both defensively and also in attack. 18 carries, 148 metres, outstanding. Max Chow, of course, got the first try, but it weren't his best game. He did get a try and an assist, but that's why he's not in my 3-2-1. 1 point is going to Corey Hall. 2, I'm going to give to Mason Lido. Yet again, a masterclass of how to control a game. He was superb, got his try, and that was a nice try as well. 2 really good assists. His kicking game just kept them ticking over throughout. I thought Lino, once again, brilliant for Trinity. He has been a star reborn in 2025 for the Trin. And 3 points, and I'm delighted to say this, Josh Rourke. I mean, he's a bit in and out. And I mean, Truman came back. He was the fall guy. And he put Jowett back to full back. You can understand that. But for me personally, Jowett is working so well at standoff. Rourke in this, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 2 tries, 2 assists, just very London-esque. I mean, when London were at the best last year, it was because of Josh Rourke. He's running, his timing, everything. That leap that he does, unbelievable. This was all about Josh Rourke for me. Great performance. For me, deserves to stay in this team at full-back. Truman, we know he's a good player, but unfortunately very injury-prone. And I don't believe that Josh Rourke should be dropped when Truman comes back. I think Jowett's playing more than well enough. I think him and Lino are playing really well off each other. And Josh Rourke has got skills that, quite frankly, nobody else on the Trinity roster have got. And they can be epic, as Sam Tompkins found to his detriment. Oh, talk about stepping time. Outstanding performance from the Trin. 44 points to 6 as we bring this episode of In the Shed to a close at Craven Park. Well, Friday night got us off to a great start, didn't it, at the LSP, and then Craven Park just absolutely nailed round 17 as the Leeds Rhinos triumph over the Robins 14 points to 8 in a game that perhaps could turn the season a little bit on its head. There's no doubt about it. Leeds Rhinos are like a lighthouse, aren't they, to the rest of the league? This is how you beat Hull KR. You just don't go away. You go toe-to-toe. You make them, you put pressure on them, and there's no doubt about it. They felt the pressure in this game. Did Hull KR. Brilliant try from Reece Martin. Don't get me wrong. It had to be Reece Martin, didn't it? I think quite a few people had punched a few quid on him as an anytime try scorer. That was written in the stars for me on the day. But they just didn't go away. The amount of tries that they were bombing, and people say, how did it happen? I'll tell you how it happened. It's pressure. It's what pressure does to you. Leeds, from minute 1, they were on. They were running hard. They were in the grind of the game from minute 1. And KR knew they were going to have to be at their best to win it. And with that comes pressure. And that, for me, is why we saw the forward passes that we do. 2 blown tries, no doubt about it. Poor decision-making. For example, Burgess going right instead of left to Broadbent. Little moments like that win or lose games. And when you're under pressure, that is when the brain can let you down. That is when the brain can falter. And it certainly faltered for a few of the KR players on Sunday afternoon. This was a brilliant, brilliant game, though, rugby league for the neutral. Very reminiscent of what we saw at the LSP. I loved every single minute of this game. The bit of controversy, people will say the Mikey Lewis, Harry Newman incident. For me personally, I don't know how Mikey Lewis fails his HIA. I really don't. I've seen it time and time again. And for me, I'm struggling to see where he's hit him. It looks to me as if one hand is on the shoulder, the arm or the forearm doesn't appear to hit his chin. We've seen Mikey take so many hits, bounce back up. And I think, again, when Mikey gets up, he runs off the pitch. There's no dressage. There's nobody riding him. There's no Olympic points there. His eyes weren't glazed. He ran off. You're thinking, yeah, he'll be back, and he wasn't. And now, not only did he miss the second half of this game, which, let's be fair, and well done to Basil Kingston in final whistle, saying that, in the semi-final against Hull FC, they lost him earlier, the semi-final, quarter-final against Hull FC in the Challenge Cup. They lost Mikey Lewis, and they went on to win that game. I think Leeds were, at this moment in time, well, saying that at the time, Hull FC were playing well, but Leeds were probably a far more trickier opposition at this point in the season. But yeah, they just didn't move on from that. And now, of course, they're going to be missing Big Mikey for the game at the LSP on Saturday. Unbelievable. If you're a Lee Leopards fan, you're like, we'll have a bit of that. Thank you very much indeed. Second half, it was all about, well, okay, what's going to happen? And again, very like Lee. Leeds came out resurgent in the second half. The belief in the Leeds Rhinos was quite simply sensational. I mean, again, it wasn't a game that was devoid of errors. I mean, both teams completed in around the 75% mark. It wasn't like it was a flawless game, but it just had so much to enjoy, didn't it? Again, a great advert for the great game that is rugby league football. It's why it's the greatest game on earth. I don't support either of these teams, but I was absolutely glued to the TV. It was an incredible game of rugby league football. Lozone, big Sam Lozone. Over you go. I thought Ryan Hall might get a try for the Rhinos. I thought that was written in the stars, not a bit of it, and it goes, but we've got to go there. We've got to go there. What a winning try from the Leeds Rhinos. Absolutely different gravy. Different gravy. I don't care what anybody says. Unbelievable. Off he goes. Alfie Edgelou. Let's be fair. First half, they bombed a couple of big opportunities, did the Leeds Rhinos themselves on the left-hand side. They were going to Edgelou's wing quite a few times in that first period, and the passing was off by a considerable amount for the Rhinos. But wouldn't you know it, Alfie Edgelou's the man that sets them off in transition. The ball went through 6 pair of hands, so Mark Hill tells me, one of our team talk members. Incredible skill, Ash Hanley, etc., into Connor. Oh, and it ends to Lockie Miller. I mean, I don't know about you. Oh, yes, absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, talk about if it was sun cream, factor 50. Brilliant. Get it all over me. Rub it in deep. Fantastic try from the Leeds Rhinos, deserving to win any game of rugby league football. KR, we're going to learn a bit now about KR, because this is a hammer blow the way they've lost this game. It'll hurt. It will hurt. There's no doubt about it. They've had it their own way for a long time this season. We're now about to find something else out about KR. Can they rally from disappointment? Had they lost the Challenge Cup? What could have happened then? They didn't. They won it. They've had the high from that. They've done really well since then as well. But now they've lost the game to, let's be fair, a genuine grand final contender. I'm not saying that Leeds Rhinos are going to get there, but they're only 2 points now off the Wigan Warriors. And you wouldn't bet against the Leeds Rhinos. It'd be foolish to. That's a massive game now at Headingley next weekend against St. Helens. Oh, we're in for a treat, aren't we? I mean, again, 2 brilliant games. KR go to the LSP and Leeds host Saints. Oh, yes. More great games on the horizon, and we will be here next week to unpack them all. Absolutely loving rugby league. One of the greatest seasons for me. I mean, there's a lot of nonsense online at the moment in terms of the standard of rugby league football in the UK. Not having a bit of it. This was outstanding. Anybody who says that wasn't a great game of rugby, the one at Lee wasn't, that Wakey weren't fantastic at home against Catalan Dragons and was absolutely outstanding. And even in dross games like the FC game and the Castleford game, at least they were close. And as a neutral, as much as it weren't sparkling rugby, you got involved in it. You felt something. It was a bit of a grind. It kept your interest. We don't want blowouts. We want quality rugby league. The only reason we carried on watching Wakefield Trinity is because, of course, they're our guilty pleasure, and weren't they playing so well? I absolutely loved round 17. I don't know about you. Absolutely will bring me back for more and more and more again. Yeah, who needs a value meal when you can get a bargain bucket of rugby league football? That's what I say. Right, let's get into the 3, 2, 1. The 1 point I'm going to give to Jake Connor. Again, Sky do what Sky do. They want to talk to Jake about not being picked for England. So what did they do? They give him a man of the match when he wasn't man of the match. Again, pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. But he was a great player on the day. I am going to give him a point. I thought he played some key moments of the game really, really well. He did architect a lot of good moments for the Leeds Rhinos. So for me, Jakey boy does indeed deserve a point, albeit was not man of the match. 2 points I'm going to give to Michalaj Aledzki. In Aledzki back to his best this season, really punching really well down the middle. Seems to be cutting his errors out as well, which is good. That's been plaguing him for quite a while now, Michalaj Aledzki. But he had a really good, clean game in this one. Good in defence, 31 tackles for a middle unit. That's a good effort from Michalaj. And he got over 100 metres. For me, when you consider who he's going up against, JWH, Hadley, etc., you needed your big forwards to really stand up. And he did stand up. I thought Michalaj Aledzki was great. I'm sure that other people will give his own here a point or two because he scored a try. What a load of nonsense. Michalaj Aledzki, for me, absolutely superb on both sides of the ball for the Leeds Rhinos. Good effort from Michalaj. And 3 points, this was really tough. Lockie Munner had another good game, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to give it to Ash Hanley, the captain, again, because of his displays on both sides of the ball. 100% tackle efficiency on the day. He ran the ball 15 times, 149 metres. He had 4 tackleables. He played a key role in that beautiful winning try as well. For me, Ash Hanley, take a bow, sir. Take a bow. You had a great, great game. And just like a lighthouse, the captain led his side home. Beautiful stuff in round number 17. That has been In the Sheds. We hope you've enjoyed it. We will be back for round 18 next week. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm breathless. Rugby league football, there's nothing better. Bye for now, folks.